47 minutes after takeoff. There were 92 fatalities, including
Blast off like an acid trip, like cocaine, need a bag of zip, like mask off when I'm hitting this lit. This shit, personal business in this. Who's anger at this? I'll pop me a pill and remember a shit. I'm leaving you dead and they speaking on shit. The way that I'm feeling, they kneeling.
Fucking power bomb by accident. Am I still good?
Yeah, you're still on. You're good. Let me just go check. Yeah, you're on.
Alright, bet.
So there was 92 fatalities, 11 crew, 76 passengers, and 5 hijackers. The pilot's name, who was commandeered, his name was Captain John Oganowski, and First Officer Thomas McGinnis. That was on American Flight 11. That was American Airlines. Very particular on the American part, huh? Right. United Airlines Flight 175. Again, really sticking to that United States, America. 175, Boeing 767 again from Boston to Los Angeles. Takeoff was 14 minutes after the first one. There were 5 hijackers again. Crash site was in the South Tower of the World Trade Center. Time of impact was 9:03 a.m. The fatalities are 65, including 9 crew, 51 passengers, and 5 hijackers. The pilots who commandeered is Captain Victor Saraceni and First Officer Michael Herricks. Next one is American Airlines Flight 77. Yo, all of them are American Airlines or United Airlines. You see that shit? Like, that's so purposeful. Again, same aircraft, 757, Boeing, Washington. It says Dulles into Los Angeles. Takeoff was 8:20, so it looks like they were just taking right after another, saying goodbye to each other, whatever. Crash site was the Pentagon in Arlington, Virginia. This is the one you were talking about. This also had 5 hijackers on the plane. Time of impact was at 9:37 a.m. Fatalities were 64 on board, including 6 crew, 53 passengers, and 5 hijackers. And then 125 military and civilian personnel inside of the Pentagon. The pilot commandeered was Captain Charles Burlingame, and First Officer David Charlebois. And there's one more, Flight 93, United Airlines, Flight 93, Boeing 757, Newark to San Francisco. Takeoff was at 8:42. Hijackers were 4 instead of 5. Crash site was in Shanksville, Pennsylvania after passenger revolt. Time of crash was at 10:03 a.m. Fatalities were 44, including 7 crew, 33 passengers, and 4 hijackers. Target was unconfirmed but believed either to be the U.S. Capitol or the White House. It is just more believable for them to take out the White House than the Capitol, because the only reason you'd want to take out the Capitol is if everyone's in it at the same time. Some designated survivor shit, you know what I mean? Passengers famously stormed the cockpit after learning of other attacks via phone calls. The famous last rally was Let's Roll.
That's insane.
Honestly, I want to ask you something. This is going to be probably one of the more personal questions when you think about it for real. Like, take a minute to think about it for sure. Put yourself in the shoes of one of those passengers.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you got... Obviously, we're going to talk about the plane that was revolting, because I think that if me and you were both on a plane, we'd both come to the same conclusion, right? We'd be like, if we were in this situation, we'd come to the same conclusion, right? Like, we're dying.
Yeah.
Like, we're already dead.
Yeah.
Like, how are we going out? Right?
Storming that cockpit, dude.
Right, like, so...
Just storming in.
I don't care if maybe we die.
Grabbing a fucking...
Maybe we die going for the AK.
Fire extinguisher? Nah, dude. I'm grabbing the fire extinguisher, just fucking lighting it up, putting my shirt on my head.
Yeah.
Taking one big breath, closing my eyes, and just fucking sprint to the front. Open that... like, slam that fucking cockpit open. Spray the shit out of that place inside.
I mean, like, if the...
like, ideally, obviously...
Let's put it in a perspective, right? Let's put it into a real perspective. There's 4... There's 4 hijackers total.
Yeah.
And there's, let's say, on this flight that everyone was revolting. Let's keep it realistic, right? On the actual flight. So, the the operations to make sure that the terrorists don't get into the cockpit. Likelihood is that we got some guys that look very American, or we got some guys that are in there that really know how to move around without being seen. Okay? Or you have guys who are very loud and are very, shut the fuck up, I got a gun. Now we're going to get shit rolling my way or else you're going to die. Boom, takes out 3 different people, kills them right in front of everyone. All right, now everyone's...
Well, I mean, that's a completely different scenario.
Right. No,
The
it's
card's
like I
different.
said, there's 2 scenarios here with this, right? And so the more likelihood scenario is the violent one. Okay, I don't see them
Fire
taking the
extinguisher.
smart route. You know what I mean? So it's from Newark to San Francisco. You're on a Boeing 757, which is a fairly decently large aircraft. You have a lot of room to move, but the thing is that you don't really have a lot of places for cover. So everywhere you're at, no matter where you're sitting, whether you're sitting in your seat or you're standing, the only spot for cover is where that exit door is. That's where the most leg room is in the entire plane, is where that side door is on the plane, the emergency exit door. So if there's 4 hijackers, likelihood is that one of them is in that area, right? Because that's where one of them has to stand to see everybody. Another one's going to be on the other side in the same area to see everybody. Okay? Likelihood is we're fucking broke, so we're in the back of the plane. Okay? So
Probably.
obviously the worst spot to be is in the front of the plane in a plane crash. Everyone died on this plane crash. Say that. Everyone died on this impact. So the point of this is to make sure that it never gets to a point where the plane gets out of control. The pilot maintains control of the plane at all times. And making sure that the pilot doesn't feel put into a position where he has to sacrifice us to save.
What are you talking about, the terrorists?
I'm talking about if we were in the position that of some of these passengers, how could we prevent it realistically? If someone were to prevent it, looking at it in a future aspect, what would someone have to do? From our opinion.
I mean, like I said,
from our unprofessional, dumbass opinion, that's what we're doing here. So I'm saying, like, in my mind, what I see is in this Boeing aircraft, 757, it's a large aircraft. This is the one that all the memes were about. Okay, so we all know what this plane looks like. The exit doors, hear me out here. Think of any plane you've been on. Have the most space for someone to stand in front of someone. So with a person sitting in that seat, someone can still stand there. Does that make sense? So that's where one hijacker is. Same spot on the other side, another hijacker. There's 2 hijackers trying to fuck with the pilots, right? Is what I'm assuming. There's 1 marshal on the plane. 1 or 2. Might be 1 or 2 marshals on the plane.
Pretty sure it's 1.
It's 1, right?
Only
So there's
plane.
1 flight marshal on the plane. Flight marshal is going to do his thing and get clapped first, probably. Let's be real here. Right? So,
Probably.
or he's going to stay silent and not want to be noticed because he's a pussy. So, now we're looking at, okay, if they're the violent guys, they've taken out 3 different people, possibly woman or child, right? To prove a point. At this point, shots fired in the plane, anything can happen. You hit a window, air pressure's off, fucks everything up. You shoot through a window, you hit an engine, you fucking engine up. A plane doesn't just fall out of the sky when the engines are shut off. It glides. There's brakes. There's operations and mechanics to a plane. There are also training for when the draft hits certain ways and they start free falling out of the sky. You need the engines to save the plane, but there are ways to save the plane, or you can get it back into a glide. The cockpit was completely taken over for sure. within minimal amount of time,
Okay.
right? So there is no pilot on the plane.
All right. You're losing me, Dylan.
Exactly. Now I'm sitting here. I'm like, But so how do we prevent guys with AKs, right?
Okay, so all right, that's what
So they have to get up from the seats. You know what I mean? They have to get up from the seats. Like I said, we're poor. We're in the back of the plane. Okay? So likelihood is maybe one of them, nah, they were poor. So no, they were also in the back of the plane. Or
No,
they were in the middle of the
wouldn't-
plane.
I don't think the likelihood is we can't be thinking about scenarios about planes. It would be a different attack.
Well, no, we're putting ourselves in the scenario of we're in the shoes of a passenger on the plane where everyone revolted. So it
So yeah,
was
if I was in that shoe, like I said, I would still resort to getting a fire extinguisher in the car, in the plane.
Mhm.
If it was a double row Boeing or a Bow,
But
or
then we can't see either. That's the problem.
that is the risk I'm willing to take. It's either I don't see or we're all dead. So
Well, what would you do once you can't see is the question. Because
Like I
if you
said-
just leave it, then
Oh, no,
everyone's
bro.
dead.
oh, dude, no, I'm not leaving. I've sprayed fucking. Or anyways, I would spray the shit out of that motherfucker if I was in that situation. I will get a good last breath. Like I said,
So that shit gives you chemical burn, right?
like you just can't breathe. It's removing all oxygen. So
Oh,
it's,
okay.
that's pretty much what I'm saying. Like get one last gulp because you cannot breathe. Like you're suffocating if you're like in that shit. So I'd fucking just do that. And if people have common knowledge, they see a terrorist, someone with a fire extinguisher held up. I'm hoping they run behind.
I was
me.
gonna say also the thing is also like if you're gonna sacrifice yourself in the name of helping, if that's the position you're putting yourself in, people are gonna run directly at the terrorist to try and tackle him down with an AK-47 in his hand. It's just how I mean how. First of
I don't
all,
know, bro.
likelihood of them having an AK-47 in their hand, highly unlikely, but it's possible. I mean, like
But if
there's
that's the
there was
case,
no
then-
TSA.
But then again, if that's the case, if there's people running at them, then I wouldn't spray the fire extinguisher. I just bring it and start fucking using it as a weapon at that point, and then we'll fucking take one terrorist after the other, use it to fucking breach the door, hotbox the fucking cockpit, leave them inside of there. Then no, they're just nose diving at that.
Dude, it's like the only way I see it happening is that they brought pistols on the plane. If they brought pistols on the plane for intimidation and to take out the pilots, then at that
I mean,
point,
search up what happened. Or,
yeah,
no, we
let's look
can't.
up a. Yeah, we can. I can right here. Hold on.
Yeah, but they only had knives and box cutters. They had like sharp objects.
So they didn't have any firearms.
Yeah.
They did.
Oh, wait. What?
They definitely did. The
Yeah,
hijackers. I got the names. Holy shit! I got everything. So the ringleader's name was Zayad. The ringleader's name was Zayad Jarrah. They also had on this plane Ahmed Al Haznawi, Ahmed Al Nami, and then Saeed Al Ghamadi. So the pilot hijacker ringleader was Lebanese, and then all the other ones were Saudi. Okay. So yeah. They mainly believed to think that it was the Capitol, but the White House was a very big concern. Flight takes off at 8:42, late due to runway traffic. Okay, at 8:42. This is exactly what we want right here. 8:42 is when it takes off. Not even maybe
Whoops.
40 minutes later, the hijackers storm the cockpit. The open conflict heard by ATC was sounds of screams, fight, and possible cockpit breach. The pilots, Captain John Dahl and Officer Leroy Homer Jr., are killed. So yeah, they're the pilots, and then the marshal are killed
Mm-hmm.
almost immediately, which is exactly what I thought would happen. That's exactly what they would do. Um, Zayad Jarrah takes control, which is the ringleader. Jarrah announces to passengers via intercom, thinking he's talking to ATC. Ladies and gentlemen, here the captain. We have a bomb on board. So he says that on the intercom, thinking he's talking to ATC. All right.
I'll grab the fire extinguisher.
Yeah. He's dead. Sorry, guys.
Boxing that fucking cockpit was
Yeah.
fucking zero
10 people
oxygen.
max. There's 33 on board. Passengers make phone calls to loved ones between the times of 9:37 and 9:55 a.m. So at 9:32, Zayed Jarrah takes control. They start calling their families about 5 minutes after, up to 30 minutes after. So within that 30 minutes was straight flight time. The plane is mainly controlled via autopilot. Someone on that flight is going to know how to get in touch with ATC. Someone on that flight is going to be able to make a call or get in touch with someone who can help us get down from there.
I don't think it, bro. It definitely wasn't just flight time. It's just saying that because it's just trying to give you fast information. There's definitely was.
Well, no, I have it set so that it has to give me information that was taken from a source. So I can look up the exact sources on here. I can say use sources and then it'll tell me. But these are the exact times.
Well, yeah,
Because
of
you can
course,
tell when passengers were making phone calls to loved ones between
Well, yeah,
37
that-
and 55 because first phone call was at 9:37, the last phone call was at 9:55. Zayed taking control. They could probably hear on the black box him announcing or some shit like that. You know what I mean? So the revolt begins. Oh, okay. So I guess there was a group of guys kind of like us.
Yeah.
There was a group of guys kind of like how we're thinking.
Of course, bro. You kidding me? Somebody fucking said
Yeah.
on the intercom, "This is your fucking captain. I have a, or we have a bomb."
Yeah. Passengers led by Todd Beamer, Tom Burnett, Jeremy Glick, and Mark Bingham
Goats.
planned to storm the cockpit.
The goats.
The famous rally cry that was heard on a phone call, I'm assuming, is "Are you guys ready?" Okay, let's roll. No cursing, no crazy shit, just you guys ready? Let's roll. At 9:57, the passenger assault begins. That's about 2 minutes after everyone stops making phone calls. Hijackers try to shake them off by tilting the plane violently, left and right, and pitching the nose up and down. At 10:02, the cockpit voice recorder captures chaos. Passengers breach the cockpit. Jarrah shouts, "Is that it? Shall we finish it off?" Hijackers crash the plane to avoid losing control. At 10:03 a.m., Flight 93 crashes inverted at 563 miles per hour in a field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. The impact crater was 15 feet deep, 30 to 50 feet wide. All on board were killed immediately. Only plane. Alright, so this was the only plane on 9/11 whose passengers fought back. Their actions possibly saved hundreds or thousands of lives in in Washington, D.C. The Flight 93 National Memorial now stands at the crash site, and the famous line immortalized, "Let's roll." Voice recorder recovered, clear evidence of passenger assault, sounds of cockpit breach and hijacker panic. trained pilot from Lebanon. It goes over Zayed Jarrah. He's a trained pilot from Lebanon. He had American pilot training at Florida flight schools alongside other 9/11 hijackers, and he's considered the most hesitant according to Al Qaeda communities. Todd Beamer was a software account manager for Oracle. He recited the Lord's Prayer with a GTE phone operator before leading the charge. I can pull up the full transcript of the voice recorder.
That's crazy. Pull it up.
I have the full Flight 93 cockpit voice recorder transcript. It says the approximate time was between 9:57 and 10:03. That's 5 minutes. Am I right? My math right on? No,
Wait.
that's not.
Come on, wait, what was it?
Yeah, it's 5 minutes. 9:57 and 10:03.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Okay, at 9:57, the sounds of struggle, shouts, and crashing noises start to arise. The male passengers, someone yells in the cockpit, "If we don't, we'll die." Sounds of more shouting, battering against the cockpit door. You can hear Jarrah speaking in Arabic. Is that it? I mean, shall we put it down? Another hijacker says, yes, put it in it. Pull it all down. Sounds of dishes crashing, passengers screaming. You just hear male passengers screaming, roll it, roll it. Sounds of passengers breaching cockpit. You can hear sounds of Jarrah shouting, hey, hey, give it to me, give it to me. The plane tilts left and right at this moment. Extreme control inputs are recorded. Let's just talk about what we got so far. Right, so that's by the way, the last thing I just said was at 10 a.m. So we started at 9:57. And we basically see at 9:57 they're talking about storming the cockpit. They are now discussing storming the cockpit. And then, so I feel like the main difference here is, why did we... Well, I mean, obviously, I understand why we waited so long. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to be put in that position. You know what I mean? No,
What do you mean by waited so long?
like, yeah, like, why wait so long to get on with this attack? You waited. So, like,
Regardless how long they
realistically,
waited,
the
that was-
only thing,
That was the
what makes sense is
inevitable
shock.
end.
What makes sense is shock of your situation.
For
You know what I
sure.
mean?
What
That's
the
what it is.
Fuck is this?
So it goes in the cockpit. If not, we'll all die. Then you hear the leader, Jarrah. He says, is that it? I mean, shall we put it down? And then another hijacker says, yeah, put it in it. Pull it down. So he's talking about putting it in the dirt. Pull the nose down. That's crazy. And then at 1 minute later, you hear the sound of dishes crashing, passengers screaming, roll it, roll it. It's a sound of them breaching the cockpit. And then, yeah, it looks like it talks about Gerard saying, hey, give it to me, give it to me. They lose control over something.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm saying, like, the reason why there was a delay, at the end of the day, that would have been the inevitable end.
It's just shock, yeah. It's just shock. They were taking as much time breathing as they possibly could.
That would have ended the exact same way regardless.
Yeah. Yeah. If it was us, it would have ended the exact same way. You're right. Anyone couldn't have. Nobody probably could have done better. And with this isn't to say that we could have done better. This is just to say,
of course, because at the
what
end
we
of the
thought
day,
we might have done in that situation. We would have probably have just fought. That's what it would have been. We would have just fought in the moment and said, let's get it over with.
because at the end of the day, if they're behind the sticks, bro,
yeah,
all they gotta do is just whoop, and we're fucking flying back.
All right, so the plane tilts left and right. At this point, extreme control inputs are recorded, I'm assuming through ATF, or not ATF, ACF, whatever it's called. At 10 o'clock, You hear a hijacker, likely Saeed Al Ghamdi. Hijackers begin aggressive flight maneuvers. Passengers breach the cockpit at 10 a.m. Hijackers shout religious phrases as they deliberately crash the plane. The final words heard was, "Give it to me, give it to me." Full 6-minute CVR audio remains classified. The victims' families and officials heard it during a private 2002 session. The NTSB transcribed it as part of the 9/11 Commission investigation. So we still can't hear the audio. So let's get back to the 9/11, actually, the operation. Let's get back to Robert O'Neill and what he was doing with those guys. Because now we know and we have the emotion behind why we're seeing him do what he does and these guys do what they're doing. We're seeing how America felt in that moment.
Oh, fuck. I didn't even know I was scratching that thumb.
All right, so again, this is a mission out in Abbottabad, Pakistan. Locate and eliminate Osama bin Laden, mastermind of the 9/11 attacks and the leader of Al Qaeda. After years of intelligence gathering by the CIA and other agencies, a high-value target, HVT, was located at a secure compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan, usually fortified and conspicuous for the area. U.S. analysts were highly confident that the HVT was Osama bin Laden. So they apparently found him. I know you remember this from the video, but they found him because they found a guy pacing outside of this compound every day at nighttime, and they called him the Pacer. And one of these analysts was like, it's like a guy who's in jail.
But
Just pacing around his cell.
That was just one thing he did, but that wasn't how they found him.
No, but that was the one thing that they looked at.
They looked at it because that was the only way they were able to determine his height. Because
Yeah,
the way
they were able to determine his
shadow
height from the shadow, but the analysts recognized it because of the fact that he was pacing and he was close to the compound, not quite leaving the compound, and pacing in such a way that made it seem like you couldn't go anywhere else. I thought that was very, very interesting that they took that perspective to it.
But
And
it's because
that's how they got it.
it's because that's the only way they saw the third
Right.
person. The
Yeah.
only time they saw him was him pacing around,
Right.
in that shadow.
And like, it's also, how did they also realize that his family was in there too? His family didn't come out. Only
by
he
the
did.
clothes, laundry.
Oh, that's right, from the
He and
clotheslines.
he
You're right.
signatures of the wives and the amount of kids they had. And they found the third wife, and they know in the Islamic culture, there's never a different amount of. There's only the same amount of women there's the same amount of men. So if there's 3 women, there has to be a third man, and they never saw the third man or the third guy until they saw the Pacer, which is the guy who was always walking around back and forth.
Right. So that's how they kind of got on the idea of Osama in that area. And they didn't know, Obama didn't know if this was really him. This was a whole risk, this whole thing.
Yeah, it was.
It was
Yeah.
it was entirely a risk. So it says that the team was a Naval Special Warfare Development Group. It's abbreviated as DevGru, commonly known as SEAL Team 6, supported by CIA operatives and a K9 unit. They didn't go over the K9 unit in the documentary, but fun fact about SEAL Team 6. The reason why it's called SEAL Team 6, you know the reason why it's called SEAL Team 6? So there are, I believe there's either 4 or 5 SEAL teams. And it goes SEAL Team 1, SEAL Team 2, SEAL Team 3. There's possibly a SEAL Team 4. Supposedly not. I don't know. Whole thing about 4. And then there's SEAL Team 6. The main idea behind that is the same idea that I had in high school behind the pig prank. Do you know? So I didn't do it, but I had a prank that I really wanted to do for senior year that I've talked about with a lot of people who I'm close with. But I may have brought this up a long time ago. I don't know if you remember it, but I wanted to like get like teacup pigs or like farm pigs, whatever I could find.
Okay.
And I wanted to put numbers on them, like 1, 2, 5, 8. You know what I mean? Just because then they're looking for 8 pigs, and there's like 2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
You know what I
just
mean?
4 pigs.
Right, and they're looking for like number 9. They're like, what the fuck is like
One's randomly like
right?
52.
It's the same idea. So they're like, we want people to think, where the fuck is 4 and 5 and 6? You know, 4 and 5, because we know
Yeah.
we're 1, 2, 3, and then we know where 6 is. What the fuck? Where's 4 and 5? You know what I mean? It's pretty strategic. It's a strategic idea. So yeah, known as DevGuru SEAL Team 6, supported by CAA operatives and K9 unit. The insertion method was 2 modified stealth Black Hawk helicopters flown from Afghanistan to Pakistan under the cover of darkness. They also had some technology they were talking about that was able to interrupt radar for Pakistani military.
No,
And they
they
weren't.
no, they didn't have interrupting radar. They were just in no contact zone in that point in time because the operation was 1 mile away from their
Right.
west point of Pakistan.
There was a complication. Upon arrival, one of the Black Hawk helicopters, like we said earlier, experienced a hard landing / crash due to compound walls interfering with aerodynamics. No injuries. Mission still continued. First time I've heard of a helicopter crash where everybody fucking walked out. By the way, that's insane. SEALs breached into the compound and they systematically cleared floors, is what it says. But what happened was that after the helicopter crash landed, everybody's getting out and they're getting into contact with the other team in the other helicopter. The other guy who's piloting the other helicopter sees what happens to the helicopter that went over and said, "Get out," to the other guys, right? And they're like all getting out of the helicopter outside of the compound. And so the breacher on the team goes up to the wall where they know that there's a door, and they set up charges of, I think it was C6. They set up breach charges of C6 up against the wall, and they try to breach this door, and they blow up the part of the wall, and they realize that it's just straight wall. It's no door.
Yeah, it was a fake door.
It was a fake door, and like Robert O'Neill always dramatizes this part of the story, and he goes like, he's like, where his breacher's like, that's bad. Like, no, we can't get in through here, and then he's like, no, that's a good thing. Like, nobody fucking does that. He's in there.
Like whoever does that.
Whoever does that is fucking really hiding. So they plan to go on through the front gate, through the front door, right in. They were like, that's the only way in that we know of that we can breach. And they were like, okay, we're gonna charge up.
It opened up. They realized that they were just outside.
Yeah, and they thumbed up, and Robert O'Neill went in, and so they all went in, and they systematically cleared floors, as Jamie on my computer is saying. And they killed several individuals, including Bin Laden. Not Bin Laden, including a Bin Laden courier.
Yep.
Who was the first guy, which was Abu Ahmad, I believe was his name.
Do you know who that to deal with that guy?
He was he was the guy that they were looking for the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But they were looking for a different guy that started with an M, and the guy who they were looking for was the guy who would film Osama bin Laden's videos. And so they're looking for this guy under like Makar, so whatever his name is. And they don't realize that this guy who's already in Osama bin Laden's chain of command is this guy. All they did was connect that this guy has a nickname. That's what they did. They connected that this guy has a fucking nickname, and that he was the cameraman behind Osama bin Laden's filming. He was also the planner behind the 9/11 attack. He was the real planner behind it.
That was a different guy though, because this guy, he had like 8 brothers, and all the prisoners said that he was alive, but one courier said that he was dead and that he buried him himself. But supposedly it was one of his older brother, because all the brothers were on the wanted list and on the watch list,
Right.
and this CIA detective or CIA agent, she was pretty much the one who found Osama bin Laden, and like, it was pretty much her against everyone,
Yeah.
because her whole like CIA career was about bin Laden pretty much catching him. She lost a very good friend of hers due to a case trying to find bin Laden. Like one of they not them. I forgot. I think it was like the Iraqi military captured one of bin Laden's like doctors, and he was pretty much surrendering and like offering to help.
Right.
They set him up and like try to
Oh shit.
get him
My shirt's fucking flipped. Go
get
ahead.
him to give us information. That ends up going south because he just goes MIA for like
Yeah.
months. So they're wondering when they're gonna hear from him. He finally comes out the blue out of nowhere, talks about how he's like in connection with like some of the top people, like top 5 people, and he wants to come back to deliver information. Long story short, he ends up going to like a CIA compound
I threw that motherfucker.
and then fucking blows up the compound, kills 7 CIA operative, I
Yep.
believe, and a couple troops were injured.
Yeah.
But that's when the blackout interrogations were also going.
Yeah. Man.
That was a whole.
What a
awesome-
time. Time to be alive.
That's crazy. I mean, it didn't really happen though.
they.
But it did. Oh, who knows?
Yeah. That's.
Who knows?
This is also a really cool, kind of like movie scene moment. That I remember. So, on the third floor was Osama bin Laden.
Yep.
But before they had a systematic way of going upstairs. You have your point man at the front, right? And then you have the guy behind you who kind of keeps cover, and then you have a guy who goes behind him who comes behind him and keeps cover, and like the line keeps moving, whatever, and so you run out of guys, and then finally they're up by the third floor, and they're out of guys. It's him,
Yep.
it's Robert O'Neill, and one other guy. And so they're up there, and they come into contact with an individual that they immediately recognize as Osama bin Laden's son. And Osama bin Laden's son spoke multiple different languages, but 2 particular Arabic languages he used regularly. And so he basically the not Robert O'Neill, but the guy he was working with, like, kind of just said normally, not in a yelling voice or anything weird. He was like, in both languages, one after another, he went, yo, come out, come here, it's safe. He said it in both languages. It obviously confused him. He's like, huh? And he just pokes his head out.
I'm pretty sure you just said his name.
He said, come here. He said, come here, in both languages. And then his name probably in that, but they particularly were like, he said, just come here, like, expose yourself. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
And as soon as he
exactly
peeked,
which part
that's
you're
gotta
talking
be so, even on your
No,
end of the
yeah.
gun, that's gotta be so terrifying.
about. Like the fact that he pokes out and like, he acted like
He's dead. You shot him. You
Like,
got his ass.
you
First of all,
sh-
that's a win on its own. You just shot Osama bin Laden's son.
Yeah.
You already just won by taking out the terror. That's already going to be a headline. Okay. But we're here for the mission, right? So, at this point, you've just killed Osama bin Laden's son. They're like, okay, well,
job not done.
yeah, job's not done. We got one more thing to do. And they know that there's a likelihood of suicide bombing at the top with Osama. There's likely this woman or him. So they have a moment, they go in, and first guy goes in, tackles a courier that is right beside in the room with Osama, and Robert O'Neill goes in behind him. Very bravely, that first SEAL tackles.
There wasn't a Curry up there.
There was someone up there where the first SEAL tackles someone.
His two wives or some shit like that.
He tackled a male. He tackled a male, like an armed male.
I swear it was just his two wives up there.
He tackled an armed male, and then Robert O'Neill goes in and looks immediately to his left, sees Osama bin Laden standing behind his wife in a very uncomforting position towards Robert O'Neill. And Robert O'Neill immediately felt threatened for the safety of himself and his fellow team. And he double tapped Osama bin Laden right in the fucking face. And one time in the chest, it looks like. After that, they did about 40 minutes of intel collection on the ground. SEALs gathered a significant cache of digital devices, documents, and storage media for intelligence exploitation. That was Operation Neptune Spear.
Indeed.
Honestly, that's not the end of the story. They then had to escape Pakistani government.
Yep.
After that, they had fucking planes that we sold them, chasing after these chasing after this Black Hawk helicopter. So they leave the compound, bring out the body of Osama bin Laden with them.
Brought a lot of fucking hard drives.
Yeah, all that digital equipment. And they just they dipped as fast as they could. It took 90 minutes to get across the border. Each minute, they were wondering if it would be their last. Because eventually, by 20 minutes, they had, I don't know exactly what planes, but F-150s, not F-150s. That's a fucking truck. Someone put me in a fucking box right now. F-22s, type style planes. Kind of just following these guys out, wondering, who are you, what are you doing? And at any point they could have engaged, they didn't engage, and they were able to get into Afghanistan unharmed. Barack Obama gave that speech.
That fucking insanely bad of a speech.
Yeah, Obama gave that speech. No lives lost in the operation to kill Osama bin Laden, except for Osama bin Laden and his people. There's still so many people like him and his followers out there in the Middle East and in other areas of the world as well. They're all rat-ass people, bro, and they're all fucking getting what's coming to them. And it reminds you of that moment in Fury. Have you ever seen that movie? Reminds you
which one? Or not which one, but which part?
So there's a part in the movie where they're rolling through and they're about to go into a battle. They're rolling on the tank, and Brad Pitt's character, Top, he says something along the lines of, "One day, this war is gonna end, and we're all gonna be able to go home, and we're all gonna be able to live our lives and be able to leave this mess and not have to think about it." Obviously, that's not real life, but it's like, until then, there's gonna be a lot of lives lost. It's gonna fucking suck, and we have to keep going, even if we know we're gonna win, because they haven't given up, so we can't either. And so, there's some smaller guys. They're more of the, like as Shane Gillis puts it, they're more monkey bars guys, but they have similar ambitions, and they have similar grit of getting their job done, to a point where they are willing to sacrifice themselves to get the job done. You know what I mean? And I know a few Americans who would do the same thing.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I mean, these guys they're evil and they're everywhere in the world, but it's
And
always
they're
going to
all
be
in
the
different
guys.
masks.
Yeah, bro, and they wear different masks. They're under different organizations, different names. Some of them are legal. Some of them are out there living amongst us.
Some of them could be your fucking neighbors.
Yeah, bro, you don't even know. But overall, at the end of the day, it all comes down to a matter of what is the good guy going to do in the situation. And meanwhile, the Osama bin Laden situation was he had to act in that moment. He had to kill him.
Mhm.
Also 2001, you're not getting away with that. But the true strength of being an American and being a soldier and being a patriot was shown when I gotta look up his name and I'll put it after editing the video. Um, sorry, my laptop died, so the light went out, but we're still recording.
Wait, what?
The soldier that caught Saddam Hussein showed resistance. It showed respect to someone who didn't necessarily deserve it. And he kept a level of professionalism that is very hard to keep out in the field, I would feel like, as a special forces officer, you know what I mean? Especially after seeing them kill children and use children and women to an extent that they do. Like, I feel like it would definitely be very hard not to kill someone, even in a situation where he's being peaceful. So it goes to show that there are some real good guys in the military that are doing it for the right reasons and want to get bad guys and want to, not always kill them, but bring them to trial, bring them to justice. Um, at the end of the day, I still think, even though Saddam was also executed by hanging, which is probably the fucking wildest way to go,
That's pretty fair.
he did die. Like, bet he still faced justice. He still got picked up alive. We didn't just fucking kill him. You know what I mean? Like, would it have been nice to bring Osama bin Laden back into the U.S. and been able to try him and then execute him? Probably. Probably would have been a lot better for the American people to be able to see him suffer. You know what I mean? But ultimately, the way he went out is the way he deserved.
Mm-hmm.
He went out watching canines and armed troops taking him out in the black of night.
Yep, he saw some green-eyed devils.
Yes, and that's the last thing he fucking saw. The way that Robert Greene and other officers describe his face after being shot, because he was double tapped in the face and then shot in the chest. There were pictures of Osama bin Laden that were leaked years ago. They're not real. He said that the way that Osama bin Laden's head was, it was like they had to like hold it together to take a picture. So it was like that.
Damn.
Busted open, and they kind of had to like stretch it out a little bit and
Reconstruct it.
where you can hold his face like, by his chin like that. It split his fucking head in half. It split his fucking head open. They were hitting him with hollow tips. They were hitting him with AR-15 rounds with hollow tips. AR-15 hollow tip bullets. Like, you're not living. No one is living. No one is living after that.
Yeah.
Apparently, I don't know who it was. For some reason, like, I think it was Nick Irving actually who said this, but like he said that one of his like kills like left a gaping hole in one of his guys. Not one of his guys, sorry, one of his targets. And it was freaky as fuck to see just a gaping hole in someone.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, I'm sure that's so fucking trippy, but like, all right, with all this we've talked about a lot, and we're gonna end the podcast very shortly. I feel like we got a lot of shit we talked about.
Starting to hear shit outside since the fucking light turned off.
Would you ever consider in your lifetime still pursuing an active career in the military?
Probably not.
Not at this point.
No.
Too much to lose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I mean,
I
do
have
you
a-
think there's going to be any major conflicts right now?
Oh yeah. It's coming.
I do too. One thing I'm worried about is, so if World War III happens, there's going to be a delegation of people that like just feel an obligation where you're going to have to go, because it's like that's what it was back in World War II and World War One. It was a lot of them were drafted, but a lot of them guys didn't get accepted. Felt an obligation to help their country. So,
I don't know. I feel like there's gonna be a lot less of that nowadays.
oh, for sure, with the way that our community is and the way that like people are, like our age, no way. I could see some middle-aged people in their 40s, 30s thinking they can do it and then doing it just because they can and they'll let them. You know what I mean? More the merrier. But we have at this point in time compared to back then a very strong and large army. We have a very, very large military compared to what we had. And if we were to go into a world war type situation like we did back then, it's going to be with our allies that we have been established with for decades.
Yeah, but this will be a different war. It'd be with like Russia and China and like a complete NATO disaster.
Of course, but like that's the thing about these type of situations is that they're bound to come into these type of situations. Like if you
Well,
have
no,
a
this-
if you have a,
but here's the thing, this is
an
a
alliance like
completely-
NATO,
But this is a completely new thing, like especially with the technology we have now, the fucking nuclear shit we have now.
which
North Korea helping
MAD
out
is a
Russia.
thing though. MAD is a thing, and I think that countries like China are gonna understand that. China's not gonna just nuke its top buyer. You know what I mean? They're not gonna just
It's not
do
even
that.
about that. It's about Russia and fucking Ukraine. Like
You think China would, if Russia and China were in cahoots, right?
they're in cahoots. They're a part
Right.
of BRICS.
No, I'm saying in a World War III scenario. Like, say we're in World War III, and China and Russia are in cahoots, and they're fighting together against us. You don't think, as China being the leader financially and probably
Yeah.
military-wise,
Dude, at that point, all
is going to
conflicts
let
is-
Russia just nuke the U.S., nuke the West? Because
they-
that's what they want to do. They want to end the West. But, and just
But
to be
they
clear,
can't
that's
stop
not
something-
what all Russians want. I'm just saying that's what like the Soviet,
our opinions.
War
Our
II.
opinions.
yeah, and like what
What
we're seeing. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, like watching this all unfold. If in the scenario, right, you think that China would let Russia nuke us, and you think that
And if they don't know, then it doesn't matter. 'Cause
Of
that's-
course.
That's the only.
but
that was-
Russia would
No,
end that
no.
threat for sure. They wouldn't let that happen. And also, we have
I'm
certain
all I'm
deterrents as
saying
well for
is-
that type of shit. Just saying, we have
Of
missiles
course we
that can
do,
hit
but I'm
that
saying the fact that that threat is once out there, that's
Yeah.
some shit you can't take back. But
For sure.
If that was since you're asking me a question,
right.
I'm telling you, like, if that were to happen, I feel like Russia would do it just not by not telling China.
Yeah.
I don't think China would. I don't think China will let Russia do it. I do agree with that, but
Right.
if-
I also feel that after that event would happen, a lot would change in the war. You know what I mean? It wouldn't just be no longer like China. China would do that jumping thing. You know what I mean? So like,
But the Ukraine already shifted the war. I don't know if did you hear about the operation they had like maybe like 2 weeks ago,
what was it?
bro. They snuck in a bunch of drones in like shipment contained semi trucks, brought it to like top military bases in Russia, and just drone strike the fuck out a bunch of their nuclear planes. And
In
like,
Russia?
Yes, like in a bunch. It was like labeled, not labeled, but like a bunch of like Russian telegrams were calling it like Russia's Pearl Harbor, and it's like it was bad. Like
So
like,
they're fighting.
dude, yeah,
That's
and
what
like
I'm saying.
they're fighting again. Like fucking, there's no like that peace negotiation shit's out of the table
Yeah.
now.
So like everything's up in smoke right now. We don't know what's going on. But with that being said, I do want to bring this all to a close. It's been a very productive
It
time
has been.
here. I do want to say this,
Media fucking Monday.
bro. Media Monday is real, bro. Every Monday, me and Marco sit down and we try to do the podcast if we can.
That's ideally the plan.
But today is what day?
Tuesday.
That's right. Sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes we gotta wait and we gotta do it. But we get it done for you guys. We want to keep bringing you guys entertainment that you guys can enjoy, and we want to keep leveling up the experience. Obviously, we got some things to work on. Like we got we got the lighting system. You know, same thing with the street POV videos. We got some things to work on. We got things coming soon. One of the next big major changes I want to get working on is some new mics. I want to work on some mics that maybe sound a little bit better. I still want to keep them portable, but I want to make them sound better. The good thing about these mics is that, right. Like the good thing about these mics is I can use them for everything. So that's why we've been kind of using these mics for everything. But as soon as we kind of, not we, mainly me, I'm gonna do the research, get the new mics. But Marco's gonna kind of just linger with the cast, bro. This is the roll up. This is what we do.
Yep.
We roll it up. We wear shirts that
We're not rolling.
make us
though.
sweaty, and
We're not dope boys.
we
We're Bart boys.
button boys. Some button boys. Shout out Bloodhound. Anyway. Yo, World War III, I'm definitely blasting Bloodhound and just going to work.
That's a fact.
Again, shout out the Fort Lauderdale video.
Boy,
Part
cool.
1 was posted. Go ahead and run that video up. Like I said, we got another podcast that's been previously recorded that's going to go up probably before this one, so you guys will see this as episode 2 of the Roll Up podcast. Welcome to the show. Thank you for sticking around till the end. Marco, you want to say anything to people?
Nah, no.
Nah, all right, well, with that being said, go ahead and hit subscribe, like the video, share the video, show your friends, clip it, post it, tag me in it, tag Marco in it.
Cheers.
You want to shout out the boys real quick? Should we shout out some boys real quick, some homies? Who you want to shout out?
Oh, I'm gonna shout out that fart boy Lex.
Yeah, I was about to say Dirty Lex.
Lex Wong.
Dirty boy.
Still waiting on my AI, Spencer and Ed. Still waiting on my AI.
Shout out the
agent.
Sexbot team. Also, shout out Vibe. He's also going to be on the podcast every once in a while. I'm going to throw him on as a co-host every once in a while. You'll see him pop through.
That boy Big Frank.
Shout out Big Frank, bro. Tank gonna eat.
Tank is gonna eat. That gas ain't gonna fill itself, boy. That gas is not gonna fill itself.
Hey, yo, shout out Redline Savage. Shout out Parker. Hey, Parker is going to be in the next video for Fort Lottie. So if y'all want to see part 2 with Parker in it, go ahead and keep liking these videos, keep watching these videos. One of the best ways to kind of gauge the conversations we have on the podcast is to either leave a comment or DM
That's
us.
very true.
Like, just leave a comment or DM us what you want us to talk about, or if you have a topic, or even if you have a video for us to react to it on the podcast.
That'd be pretty funny. I'd definitely fuck with reaction to videos.
Yeah, we can do a couple of those reaction videos too, and we can set up the reaction videos inside. I'm pretty sure I can do those.
That'd be so funny.
So we can do reaction videos inside. We don't have to do it on the podcast.
Yeah.
But, alright.
Alright. Cheers.
Cheers, folks. Tune in for the next one.